Greetings, students and parents. Hope you're doing well. We are going to be continuing with our mixed numbers and improper fractions. We're going to include an operation. We're going to be using addition. Remember that a mixed number, a proper mixed number, has a whole number and a proper fraction. So anytime that fraction is improper, we have to change it, and that kind of changes the value of the whole number. We're going to use this knowledge that we have for changing fractions from mixed numbers to improper fractions and from improper fractions back to mixed numbers to do several operations, but we're going to start with addition first. There's plenty of operations here to practice with. Remember, the final result has to be a whole number with a proper fraction. You haven't seen this before, but we can add mixed numbers. Okay, and all that experience you have with mixed numbers and improper fractions is going to be applied to this. So we aren't going to use any models. This is just going to be pure math. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to use these four as samples to show you, and then you can do everything below this line. But let's look what they kind of have here. They're saying mixed numbers with like denominators. Well, we know that denominators always have to be alike in fourth grade. And they show a sample here of how to do it. Now the first one, these two are good advice. Add the whole numbers, add the fractions. So the first thing we're going to do is add the whole numbers. That's the first thing we're going to do. The second thing we're going to do is add the fractions. And that is really straightforward. Add the whole numbers, add the fractions. And what they get over here is the answer. This is the sum, because we're adding. Now, they got a sum of 10 for the whole numbers. Okay, that was 4 plus 6 is 10. And for the fractions, now remember, the fractions, the denominator stays the same. All we're doing is adding the top here. 4 plus 4 is 8. So this is basically the correct answer, except that this part right here is an improper fraction. And we already know we don't want a mixed number with an improper fraction. So what is 8/7? Okay, and they're asking how many, one whole. So they're already telling us that there's one whole in this improper fraction. So if there's one whole in this improper fraction, they're adding that back to the 10 and then leaving the fraction part. So this is really the hardest part. This over here, adding, is easy, easy, easy. Finding the sum, easy. But converting this in your head, now there's only going to be one whole inside this 8/7. Now if you remember, the whole for sevenths would be, the whole fraction would be 7/7. So there's one whole fraction in here, and then there's a piece of a fraction left over. So they're taking this whole and they're adding it back to our whole number, and that's where they get this 11. And then the part of the fraction that's left is this 1/7. So let me show you down here. So we have 8/7. Again, the fraction part, this part's not so difficult. We have 8/7 here, and we're going to subtract the whole out of that. Now we aren't using a model for this anymore. Now we're using some fractions. And what we get is 1/7 remaining. So this whole goes back into the 10. Remember, this is 1. It goes back into the 10. And then the fraction that's remaining is 1/7. So this is really what we've been preparing for in fourth grade. We've really been preparing for adding mixed numbers and then changing this improper fraction to a whole and a part of a remaining fraction. So I'm going to do these four for you on this video, and I want you to follow along and see if you can catch the pattern. So the first thing I'm going to do is add my whole numbers, which adding the whole numbers here are first grade. Okay, there's nothing really over 10, I don't think. So 5 plus 3 is 8. Now we know we don't change our denominators. Okay, like denominators, the numbers are going to stay alike. And we're going to take the 9 and the 4. That's 13. Now this part right here, this is our improper fraction. So how many whole fractions are there in 13 tenths? So we know the whole fraction is 10 tenths. Okay. And that there's going to be 3 tenths left over after we take that whole fraction out. So this 8 is going to turn into a 9. And then the remaining fraction after we take 10 tenths out of here is going to be 3 tenths. So that is a lot. Okay. I'm going to do this sample over here, then I want you to follow here with the video. Okay. So let's do this again over here. The adding is no problem. You're not going to have any problem getting to the sum. It's this conversion. Okay, how many? There's one whole in here. 10 tenths. There's 1 10/10 in there. We're going to move it over and include it in the whole number over here, and then have the remaining tenth. Well, it becomes a common fraction. So we can't have our mixed numbers having improper fractions. And this is how we convert it to a whole and a common or a proper fraction. So let's go over here again. Again, the addition is very easy. We're going to add our whole numbers. That's 3. We're going to add our fractions. Okay, and that's going to be 10. Oh, can you see how this becomes improper right off the bat? And that there's one whole in here. Okay, 9/9 goes in here with 1/9 left over. Okay, so this is what we're going to focus on. This part was easy. We're going to take one of those 9/9 and we're going to move it over to our whole number, because a whole fraction equals one whole. We're going to add it mentally to this 3. That's going to become 4. And then we're going to have a 1/9 left over. 1/9. So these parts are in your sample. These parts are left blank. Okay? They're left blank because I want you to follow along with the video and work these out along with the video. Okay? So follow on the video and then give it a shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 10 down here you can practice with. I'm sure you're going to get the answers right. This is the answer I'm looking for. This answer right here. Okay? So in the next video I'll show you how to do these two, but this paper is going to remain blank. I want you to fill it in when you get to the video. So let's look at these two now. Okay, easy part. Let's add the whole numbers, 7. Let's add the tenths. That's going to be 11. Super easy. But how many whole? There's one whole fraction in this 11 tenths. 10 tenths is a whole. So that means we're going to have 10 tenths with 1/10 left over. We're going to move that 10 tenths over to here. Okay, that's going to increase this to 8. And that's going to give us 1/10 left. Okay, this is the answer we're looking for right here. Excuse me. Then over here, we have 1 plus 1. Oh my goodness, this addition is too easy. And we're dealing with 12ths. 6 plus 11, 17 twelfths. Again, this, we can't have this because this is our improper fraction. We need to convert this to make it so we take the whole fraction out and put it over in the ones place over here with this and add it to it. And whatever's remaining left over, that's going to be our fractional part, and that'll be our common or our proper fraction. So these are still equal. All these are equal now. We don't have any part of this that is equivalent, because this is a mixed number and a mixed number and a mixed number. So we're all using the same thing. So I hope that's not too confusing. When we had a mixed number and an improper fraction, that we did equivalence because it was a mixed number and then something different than that. But here we're using all mixed numbers, so we can use this equal sign. So we have 17/12. So 12/12 would be a whole. We're going to move that one whole over to this 2, and that's going to make it 3. Okay. And then that whole taken out is going to leave 7, or I'm sorry, is going to leave 5 of these 12s remaining. And again, this is the answer we're looking for. So there's 2 steps in this. The first step is the easy step. I should have put that in here. Add the ones places, add the fractions. That's going to give you this. And then try and convert this improper fraction into a whole number, which you're going to put over here and add that to that. This is the mental part. That's why they kind of have these in bubbles, is they're saying, oh, we want you to think about this part when you're doing it down here. You're going to have 12/12 for your whole here, and what fraction remains is going to be a proper fraction. So we always want to get to a proper fraction for our answer. Okay, so this is a proper fraction, and this is a proper fraction. That's how we want to solve these problems. This is a proper fraction, and this is a proper fraction. So now these mixed numbers are how they should look. Okay, so that's a lot to ask. That's the next step. You guys have got the idea of mixed numbers and improper fractions and how to convert them. Now we're going to be adding fractions, super easy, coming up with the sums. But this conversion part, right here and right here, that is really where it's a little bit of mental math that you have to pull together on. So go ahead and add these up and then do the conversion. Your addition needs to be correct and your conversion needs to be correct. So there's 10 problems here. So there's a few days. You can do a couple problems a day. Watch the video over again if you need to. And then practice these on your own. Maybe have someone help you if they need to. But practice converting that mixed number with the improper fraction to a mixed number with a proper fraction. Good luck.